Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Joseph Vaz. Saint Joseph is also known as the Apostle of Sri Lanka. He was born on April 21, 1651, in Banaulim, a small village in Goa, India. Back then, this village was under Portuguese rule. He was the third of 6 children in a devout Catholic family. From an early age, Saint Joseph was known to be very intelligent with a heart that cares for the poor. By his teenage years, he felt a strong calling to serve God. He then studied Latin and philosophy, and at the age of 25, he was ordained a priest in the year 1676. He was then assigned to Kanara, where he baptized many children, rebuilt churches, and celebrated Mass with the people. However, in 1687, the Catholics in Sri Lanka were persecuted under Dutch Calvinist rule. Moved by their suffering, Joseph offered himself as a missionary to Sri Lanka, even though it meant risking his life. In his mission, he disguised as a poor laborer to avoid detection from the king's army. He had no official support and no resources, but only his faith. Instead of traveling by the road, he traveled through the mountains and across the jungle to avoid detection. One day, as he traveled through the forest to reach a group of Catholics, a miracle happened. The jungle was known to be dangerous and filled with many elephants which often attacked travelers. Then a group of elephants charged toward him as he journeyed through the forest. The people with him panicked and tried to flee, but Saint Joseph calmly knelt down, prayed. When he made the sign of the cross, the elephant suddenly stopped and turned around and walked away peacefully. This event was famously called the Miracle of the Elephant. As he lived in secrecy, he traveled from village to village, often at night, ministering sacraments to Catholics. Little by little, his mission expanded over time. He journeyed barefoot across jungles and hostile territory, facing diseases, arrest, and imprisonment. But his holiness and compassion won over the king. One day, a terrible drought struck the region and a miracle happened. The king asked Saint Joseph to pray for rain to test if his God was powerful. He then set up an altar in the public square across the palace to pray. As he knelt down and prayed, rain started to pour down, watering all crops in the farms, but not a single drop fell on him. This miracle made the king believe in Saint Joseph's connection to God. Though the king was not converted to Christianity, he gave Saint Joseph full permission to preach all over this domain in Sri Lanka. This permission allowed for the construction of churches and the conversion of people, even in regions dominated by Calvinism. From then on, Christianity flourished, and this earned him the title one of the greatest missionaries in Sri Lanka. On January 16, 1711, Saint Joseph died at the age of 59 years old. After his death, many reported miraculous healings through his intercession. On January 14, 2015, Pope Francis canonized him as a saint during a mass in Colombo, making him the Apostle of Sri Lanka. Today, Saint Joseph is venerated as the patron saint in the Archdiocese of Goa in Sri Lanka, and his feast day is celebrated every 16th of January. If you like stories like this, follow, like, and subscribe.